What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, he's the king of all VR kings, Silk King himself. Man, he's the king of Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
Jeremy King.
Yes.
I don't think they have kings there, right? It's still the United States.
Well, we don't know. Maybe in the backwater areas there are kings in these little tribe areas.
The backwaters were the best. All right.
And no clapping. I didn't clap for myself.
Good.
But I did this. I did a Mick Jagger. Hey. You know? And sitting to my left and your semi-right this week and every week is Bryan Paul.
I don't know why we do sound checks if you're just going to yell the whole time.
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
All right, every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PSVR archive, we pull out a game at random. God, I wish this was just random and like we weren't obligated to research this ahead of time because it would have been great. And then we play the crap out of it. We check into it, see if it's going to be game loved by the developers, any updates, any DLC, and then we let you know, the little game cats, whether it's worth your time. Oh, Jeremy, this is going to be a loaded question. What did we decide to play this week?
So we did Resident Evil 7 VR DLC.
Yeah, and
I'm just going to say DLC because there's a shitload of
There's
it.
so much DLC that, in fact, we decided to split this into 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So in the first episode, we're going to cover Not a Hero and Banned Footage Volume 1.
Yeah.
And then next week, we'll talk about... It's amazing how often that comes up.
Yeah.
Next
week.
We're going to talk about End of Zoe, the other big piece of DLC, and, of course, Banned Footage Volume 2.
Yep.
First and foremost, Resident Evil 7, the game itself by Capcom, released January 24th, 2017.
Yeah.
So long ago.
So fucking long.
Still, in my opinion, the absolute best game on PlayStation VR.
It's like firing it up. I was like, oh my God, this is by far the king.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I forget how unbelievably amazing it is overall for everything.
Everything.
It is without a doubt number one.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Astrobot. Astrobot, a wonderful game, but absolutely a number 2.
Yes.
Not a piece of shit.
No,
Just
not a
an
piece of
actual
shit.
number 2. You're wearing off on me. So Resident Evil 7 was originally $60 at launch in 2017, January. Now it's $20 on the PlayStation Store, which is...
I should have waited.
We all should have waited. I would have loved to play it again. I would have loved to play it for the first time right now and been like, why did I wait so long?
I know, right? I would have paid $60.
Right. Well, and I did.
Yeah, me too.
But you can also get, so just if you haven't played Resident Evil 7, which by all means, just don't even wait for us to talk about it, just go buy it.
Do it. It's a number one.
Pick up the Gold Edition, because the Gold Edition includes every piece of DLC that we're going to talk about in the original game, and that is only $50.
Nah.
And if you already own Resident Evil 7, then the season pass with everything that you don't have is $30. So you're paying $50 pretty much no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Again, the best $50 you'll spend.
Oh, big time.
Jeremy, what was it last year, the year before? You were doing Monday night live streams on the channel, and you played through Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a miracle because before we got you on the show, you weren't really the king of finishing games.
No.
or even playing a whole lot of games.
No, I would,
because you're too damn busy.
I would sample.
Yeah.
I was a sampler.
Yeah.
I'd lose interest.
But you played through the whole game,
16
week after week after
episodes.
week.
Yeah.
So it was like 16 hours it took you,
16
basically.
hours, yeah.
Which isn't really fair, I guess, because every time you start a new episode, you're picking up from a week ago.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to reacclimate, figure out where you are.
Talking, and you know how I get.
Right.
Oh,
we know how you get.
Yeah.
But so my first playthrough was about 14 hours. So I think that's probably...
I would say probably a good 2 hours was wasted here and there between staring at a wall while I was talking to people. So yeah.
Thank God for Nick.
Yeah, I know. Nick, without a doubt, was my Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
He guided me through that thing. Even if he couldn't make it, he would, leave notes ahead of time.
Just so you know, when you get to this part, do this.
It was like Mom packing me my lunch.
Right. Nick is the unofficial, 5th member of this channel.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah.
Keep forgetting. How many members do we have? I have no idea.
A lot of them.
So our brief overview, we don't want to talk about RE7 for a whole episode because we've done that so many times.
So many times, yeah.
But for me, it's an absolute one. No questions asked.
None, yeah.
I replay that game over and over and over. I like to speedrun it now. I'm still unlocking new weapons. I still haven't found all the bobbleheads because there's eventually going to be a take your time run for me where I play through on easy and I just don't care about anything.
Every nook and cranny.
Find every single document. Find every single bobblehead. So when I platinum this game, it's going to be my favorite platinum ever.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while.
Yeah, that'll take you a bit.
Yeah, which is good, man. It's like if you're a trophy hunter and you really like the ones that you can be proud of.
Yeah.
Unlike let's say, I don't know, Hannah Montana, the movie, the game, which I have on PlayStation 3. Not my proudest moment.
That was a PS3 title?
It was.
I was thinking Wii for some reason.
It was probably also on Wii.
Yeah.
It's probably on like the DS.
It's probably on
everywhere.
Mobile device.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you'd also give Resident Evil 7 a 1.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So moving on, let's move right into the first big piece of DLC. And if memory serves, this was actually the only free piece of DLC for Resident Evil 7, and that's Not a Hero.
Yeah. Not a Hero.
What did you think of Not a Hero?
Not a Hero. It was very much fetch quest-ish to me in a sense. I can't say out of all the DLC, I want to say this is my least favorite. Not that it wasn't bad. I still think it was great overall, but it was more action-oriented than it was survival horror.
Yeah. So you play as Chris Redfield.
Yeah.
And yeah, very, very action heavy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shooting. It never feels like you're going to run out of ammo.
No.
It feels like they were just like, hey, go have some fun with some guns.
Yeah.
Kill a lot of enemies. And I think the biggest criticism it gets, which isn't terribly fair because the majority of people who play this game are playing it in non-VR on a flat screen.
Yeah.
Right? Like at least 8 million people are not playing it in VR.
Which is a shame.
But it is a shame because it's mind-blowing in VR.
It's unbelievable.
As good as the head tracking is for shooting, I think the big criticism that Not a Hero gets is that since it's so action-heavy, it really deserved aim support.
Oh, yeah, that's
Would you have
true.
liked it better with aim support?
I would think I might, because it was definitely more like a turret. You know what I mean? The way you were moving around and looking and shooting at shit. It didn't feel as fluid and as natural.
Yeah.
Which for some reason it did in the other part of the game. For the most part.
Yeah. I mean, the environments were different in this game.
Yeah.
It felt very distant from Resident Evil 7 proper.
Yes.
And I think when you go back and you play all the other DLC, it feels really close to home. You're playing characters that were either part of Resident Evil 7, or you're playing in areas that you saw in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
This is just like, hey, here's a new area, here's a bunch of guns, and it's very, here's a locked door.
Yeah.
Go find the key card.
Yeah.
Here's something else. Go find the thing to fix it or whatever.
Oh, yeah, you can't breathe this air. Now hurry up and run through this area.
Yeah.
And it's like, these enemies can't die with normal bullets. You need those other fucking bullets. And they only give you a very short amount of them. Then you got to find more. That was a pain in the ass to me. Is knowing where the bullets were and having to go back and get them if you died. I don't know why.
I feel like that happened to me quite a bit as well. When I played through this when it first came out on a live stream, every time I died, I'd go, okay, what do I have? What don't I have?
Yeah.
Where do I need to go? Where was I already? It's not that the checkpoints were bad by any means.
Yeah.
I think they were there frequently enough, but.
Well, it's because you have that more main hubbish area. You get to the biggest portion of the cave, where you've got that device thingy there and the doors.
It's like three doors,
three
right?
Different doors,
right.
One this way and two over on this way. And for you to progress down here, or I should say down here, you need to go down this path to get the filter for the mask, or to maybe elongate how long you can breathe the air. It was something like that.
Yeah.
Then you got to go and you got to get the night vision goggles from this area so that you can make it through this area.
Yeah.
And then once you're going through those areas, there's these enemies you encounter that are not affected by regular bullets. So you could either try to run by and you'll get hit, maybe once, or you could get them goddamn bullets and just make sure you hit them with that head tracking, and no move support. So I don't know why. I just wasn't my favorite bit because, yes, it definitely took you away from the main part of the story and gave you like a little side thing.
Yeah. Now, I think we need to clarify, or I need to clarify at least. I'm not going to speak for you, but because it's one of my least favorite parts, one of my least favorite pieces of DLC for Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
But saying that, saying it's my least favorite part of a really amazing thing.
Yeah.
Still makes it better than, like, as far as I'm concerned, about 80% of anything else on PlayStation.
Oh,
VR.
absolutely.
So just because we're not talking like super highly about it, it's still pretty amazing.
It's like having a piece of birthday cake and being like, it leaves a little bit of a waxy taste on the top of my roof and my mouth. It's like, it's fucking cake. It's still great, but, just that little bit of a wax.
Yeah.
So it's similar to this. It's like Resident Evil. It's incredible. It looks great.
Yeah.
It handles wonderfully. The voice acting, everything about it is phenomenal.
Right.
But, yes, out of all this other shit, it's like having marbles. This is my favorite marble, and I don't like that one. Well, it's still round. You know?
Oh, so I think this is an interesting place to start this episode because I'm not a huge fan of DLC in general.
Yeah.
Once I've played through a game and I go, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
And then they say, here's some DLC. I go, I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
But this was free DLC, and of course, the second it came out, I was like, all right. And people were like, hey, stream it. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll stream it. And that's sort of how I consumed it the first time around. And because it was like lesser Resident Evil 7.
Yep.
I sort of was like, I don't care. I'm like, this kind of proved my point about how I don't care about DLC.
Sure.
How it's never quite as good as the original.
The main story, yeah.
Exactly. And so I sort of, at that point, just kind of dismissed any other DLC moving forward. And I said, I love the original game, and that's what I'm going to stick with.
Sure.
And so when we decided to do this episode, it took me a little while, but I went through and I was like, wow, I didn't even have Banned Footage 2 downloaded. And I played End of Zoe like when it came out, but then I didn't complete it, and I was having issues with my stream, and I never went back and finished it.
Oh, that's always worse, especially Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
If you leave and come back.
Oh, I started over from scratch.
Yeah, you have to, because remember the old Resident Evils? You just in the safe room.
Oh yeah.
And you had like no ribbons left to save your file. And you walk out the door and you have no ammo, and you're like, what was I doing? Where was I going? And there's enemies everywhere.
I must have had a plan.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what that plan was.
Yeah.
So the fact is, when we decided to do this episode, which I was super excited about because it's Resident Evil 7, any excuse to talk about it's a good one. I was like, wow, I actually haven't played any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Or haven't played enough of it to talk about it. And so over this past week, like diving back in and going, how did I miss all this? Pretty incredible.
Well, what was good about this DLC and how it didn't exactly feel like Resident Evil, I like this being on this show as opposed to the others where we just kind of talk
to shoot the shit.
Yeah. And when I had to stop playing, and being focused, Resident Evil always gave me a fear of playing.
Yeah.
Alone. Like I'd put the headset on and I remember it was like a thing. I would be like nervous. And then I got over it playing all these other games that we've talking about. I had no issues. And then going back and being like, hey, we're going to do DLC for Resident Evil. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, I was so excited to do it.
Again.
But I will tell you that the second, we're going to talk about Nightmare next. But the second I put the headset on to play Nightmare, I was like, Like, I wasn't in the right mindset. I took the headset off and I was like, and I had to do it. Like, I had to play it in PlayStation VR. I had to do it in VR because... like, I feel like I'd be missing something. Like I'd be screwing myself over.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and I'd be screwing you guys over because then I wouldn't give you the proper impressions. We're only covering the PSVR down DLC. Ethan Must Die is not going to be part of these episodes.
No.
Because it's not PSVR compatible.
Yeah.
So okay, before we move on from Not a Hero, how long did it take you to beat? Because you know how I love asking you this question.
It wasn't. I'm gonna say roughly an hour, give or take. Why? What did it take you?
About just over 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good ratio. Well, say an hour and 15 then, because it was a little more than an hour.
Okay.
I'd say about an hour and 15.
All right. I know I'm gonna be floored by every single one of these answers throughout the course of the next 2 episodes. But yeah, so for free DLC,
yeah.
I mean, I guess on a rating scale, I give this a 1 because because like I said, it's still better than 80% of the stuff on PSVR, and it was free.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely play it.
Unbelievable free piece of content. Yeah.
And I will say, I dinged it kind of hard because it's so action heavy. But I think once you're done with Resident Evil 7, you might need something a little like this is kind of a.
That's true.
Like just here's a big glass of water to rinse that all down.
Yeah. It's kind of like getting your aggression out. That nervous laughter when they put that in a movie where it's something scary and then something funny. So it was like that. They give you some guns so you can go and shoot some shit.
Exactly. It might be exactly what you need once you're done with Resident Evil 7 proper. So moving on to Banned Footage Volume 1, which includes Nightmare in Bedroom.
Yeah.
Nightmare is exactly what I was just talking about. It had been a while since I dove into an unfamiliar place in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
It drops you into the morgue, which is a familiar place.
Yeah.
But in a completely different form, like a setting that you're not familiar with. You're saying, okay, there's like a timer.
Yeah.
There's stuff going on. Like I know I'm gonna be attacked a lot.
Yep.
And it's completely separate gameplay than normal Resident Evil 7.
Very.
And I was like, I'm not ready for this. I played it for like a minute, and I was like, I can't do this. I took off the headset, and I was like, I'm gonna get back to this because it did something to me like when Resident Evil 8 comes out. It's gonna happen all over again.
Oh,
I'm gonna be like
stress.
The first time I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yep.
So I mean,
it's like we were saying, it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's except Resident Evil.
It's the Resident Evil version of Five Nights at Freddy's, where it's like, hey, I mean, it is very survival horror.
Yep.
It might be the most survival horror Resident Evil has ever been.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have to manage. You have to say, well, what's more important right now? Do I need health or do I need ammo? And sometimes you have to choose one over the other.
Oh yeah.
So, and the same thing happens in Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Like you have the energy meter, the electricity meter, and like you're like, I really want to turn on the lights, but I need to save that energy for later. And it's the same exact thing that's happening
stressful.
Here.
Yeah.
So you start off, you have to survive for 5 hours.
Yes.
And I feel like Capcom's getting sued by somebody. And there's a machine that's generating scrap metal.
Yep.
And you just have to go pick up the scrap metal whenever it's ready. Mm-hmm. Right next to it is a workbench, and you take that scrap metal. You can craft weapons. You can craft from the get-go. You can have a handgun, a shotgun, or a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
You can also craft ammo for all 3 of those weapons.
Yeah.
You can also craft health, and then there's a whole separate tab where you can upgrade any of those weapons.
Yeah.
Your health. You can upgrade your maximum health. You can upgrade even your health kits, where they give you more health every time you use them.
All this while enemies are pouring in, too.
Right.
There's no door to close, and they open it, you know?
Luckily, when you're at the workbench, it freezes time.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I would lose my mind, because sometimes that's the only time you get to breathe.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like, you're running from room to room, and you're just like, freaking out, and you're just like, I just need to get back, and so I can hit the X button at the workbench and go, how much scrap metal do I have? What can I make from it?
Think how lucky that dude was to be in this place. Unlucky, but lucky enough to know what to do.
Oh, speaking of unlucky dudes, you play as Clancy.
Yeah.
And I actually had to look up who Clancy was, because the name's familiar.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why is it not registering? Who's Clancy? Clancy's the cameraman from the
Nobody's safe.
The first VHS tape you find in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, let's bring back an obscure character that no one really cared about.
And look what he went through, the poor bastard.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, and this wasn't even it. Like,
he probably put up the most fight out of anybody in that goddamn mansion.
Right.
You know, Clancy.
Poor Clancy.
Yeah.
So when you first start off, you're in the morgue.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, the first time I played it, I didn't leave the morgue.
Yeah.
There's an open door in that, but that's where the molders are coming from.
Out?
That's where Jack's coming from.
Yes.
And so
Jack.
Oh, it's awful. And so you don't want to leave the room. You're like out like you're barely safe in here.
Yeah.
Out there, you're just fucked. You're all right? You gonna make it?
No, there we go. Better now.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. But once you venture out, you start realizing, oh, I have to venture out.
Yes.
Right.
Which is awful.
Because you'll see traps
that
you can set up. There's a tripwire you can set up. There's a turret gun, and basically, like, the turret gun only has, as far as I can tell, so many uses, and it requires scrap. So like you don't want to just like set it up every single time you run by it. Yeah. In the tripwire, I think you can only use once.
Once. Yeah.
So it's stressful. You need to like really manage those things and manage your scrap metal.
Yep.
And there's another machine that's creating scrap metal.
Scrap, yeah.
So you're running back and forth from room to room, and if the machine fills up, it stops producing metal.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you're running back and forth
going,
to get as much as possible.
And surviving all that time, and what was it? Basically an hour was roughly like 10 minutes or so, but it seems forever.
It's just like 5 minutes.
Forever.
How long could this possibly take? It's never going to end.
When's it going to be over?
Yeah.
And then trying to build up the courage, I guess, or the drive to like go and do it again if you die before surviving. Oh, that's the biggest trick, is wanting to go back in to do it again after you died after like 3 hours or whatever it might be.
I will say, thank you, Capcom, for understanding gamers, because the thing that made me want to go back and do it again and do it again and do it again is that there must be like an imaginary XP bar somewhere, right? Because I wish they'd actually given us an XP bar, because every time you die, whether you succeed, like, you know, get through the night or not, you unlock more things for your next playthrough. The first time I died, it said, excuse me, your thing must be contagious.
See? Right. Did you catch my awesomeness?
I might have. I'm feeling pretty awesome right now.
Nice.
My next playthrough, I'm going to be starting off with more scrap metal. I'm going to be starting off with the ability to craft more weapons, different weapons. And it just gives you an incentive to say, okay, you fucked up this time. You didn't make it to the end, which I came really close to the end my first time.
Yeah.
I got to the last hour, and then it was too much.
Forget it. Yeah. Oh, there's so many things. I want to say people, but I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
Too much.
Oh man, when you get used to fighting the molded, where you're like, oh hey, I got this under control. All I need is a shotgun.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna let them come right up to me.
Yeah.
And do a massive headshot. And if I can get 2 of them to come right up close to me and get 2 headshots in a row,
bonus.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought, and you think you have it down.
Yeah.
And then like the big, I forget what they're called, the big fat dudes that like spew acid everywhere.
The pukey ones or whatever.
Yeah. Those make an appearance, and Jack makes an appearance, and you're like,
Jack,
"What? This is
T-shirt Jack."
No,
too.
right? I thought in the first time I saw him, I thought he was naked because like his pants are kind of flesh colored, and I was like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?"
Yeah.
But it's
oh, Jack.
it really keeps you outside your comfort zone.
Yes.
If you think you have a strategy, you do not.
No.
And so this is. As far as I'm concerned,
it's like a horde mode. It's Resident Evil horde mode.
It's a horde mode. It's kind of roguelite because once you die, you're dead.
Yep.
And you have to start over. But when you start over, you do benefit from having played it the time before. So it is almost a definition of a roguelite.
Yeah.
But again, the most survival horror Resident Evil has ever been.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. Because I can't recall any previous DLC of any other Resident Evils. I mean, they didn't really have anything prior to 5. I don't think, and 5 sucked.
5 and 6.
6. I didn't even bother with 6.
Oh, I did.
Really?
Oh, I was determined to like it.
Really?
Yeah, and I did not.
Yeah, 5 was Gears of War, is what it was. I mean, when they could,
and not a good Gears of War.
No.
Yeah.
And when they could shoot back at you and like speak and communicate and throw grenades and shit, it's like, what am I dealing with?
Yeah.
You know,
and they named it. They were like, "This is no
Las
longer the
Plagas
T-virus
or whatever."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go play Gears. You know.
And I don't even like Gears, so like I'm not going to play that either.
Yeah.
But luckily, Resident Evil 7 brought it all back
Oh,
home.
big time.
And then killed it with the Nightmare DLC.
Yeah.
I'd said to you prior to filming this, we were kind of like raving about it. It was like, we'll just save it for the show. But I was saying if Capcom had been like, hey, here's a $30 game on PlayStation VR, separated it from Resident Evil 7, and just said, here's a game we made, and charged $30 for it, and it was just survival.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, this is a little expensive, but it's still one of my favorite PSVR games ever. So if you haven't played survival and you're a Resident Evil 7 fan, holy crap, like this is, I think of all the DLC we're going to talk about, this is probably the biggest one I'm going to give.
Yeah.
What are you going to rate this?
For the survival?
Just for Nightmare mode.
Nightmare, I'm going to, I want to say 1 because it's so fucking solid and so great. If going on me in survival and horde modes, I mean, not my favorite when I play them, so me personally, I'd say 2, but it's a tricky one.
Yeah, it is. It's very tricky.
Because it's definitely deserving of a 1. I'm just adding in my own personal opinion to it because I personally am not big on survival horde mode type of environments. It's just too stressful. I get pissed off. As soon as I die, I'm like, all right, I tried it. I'm not going to go back and survive. I'm not going to make it to 5 hours. Do I care? No. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm saying 2 personally, but without a doubt, it's a 1. If that makes sense.
Yeah, this is not the kind of game I usually gravitate towards.
Yeah.
The style of gameplay. I generally don't like survival in games.
Yeah.
But this just speaks to me personally, and so I love it. Which leads us to a very and I kind of love the way they did this. Band Footage Volume 1 was Nightmare and Bedroom.
Yeah.
And they're about as different as different gets.
Oh yeah.
And so Bedroom.
Yeah.
I mean, just tell me about Bedroom, man.
So Bedroom. That's crazy. So you're who do you play again? Who is it? The guy? I forget.
Is this Clancy again? I actually don't remember who this is.
I don't remember who this was. It's some dude.
Yeah.
And you're basically chained in the bed. You got your hand is handcuffed,
Let's see
if you
if
will.
I can look it up while you're talking.
Sure. And the mother,
Marguerite,
creepy. She basically has you locked in this room. She gives you some really disgusting looking food. Ugh.
And she gives you options about whether you should eat it or not.
Yeah.
What did you pick?
I mean, I ate it. You throw it up instantly. Yeah. I ate it enough times first that I died. We'll just say that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say I picked, because I was like, I wanted to be like, fuck you, I'm not eating this.
Yeah.
But of the 3 dialogue choices, I picked, of course, because I just wanted her to go away so I could figure out how to escape.
Skedaddle.
And then, I took a bite and, it didn't go well.
No. And I puked again. Actually, and it's funny because I went to go see if I could pick up the spoon as a weapon or use it somehow.
Yeah.
And he automatically ate the last. So he killed himself. It wasn't me that did.
I'm not taking responsibility for this.
Yeah. But basically, so you're in this room, she leaves, you're able to take this handcuff off, and you got to search the room and try to get out of this room.
It is Clancy again.
Oh my God.
Man, Clancy has gone through the ringer.
Oh my God. He's never going to be the same after this.
I don't think he was the same to begin with.
No. How would he ever go home and like live in society after surviving this?
Yeah, three different. He's part of three different of the piece of the band footage.
Right.
So it's just Clancy. This is all Clancy's story.
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've got to, interact with the objects in this room. Some of them make noise, and once shit gets noisy, she's like, what are you doing in there? Right. And then you're like, uh-oh. But you can't just run to your bed, which I did, because then when she comes into the bedroom, she's like, now there you are. What's out of place in here? And then she sees something out of place, and she comes over and fucking, what does she do, bite you? She does something. Yeah. She attacks you and hurts you somehow. I don't remember. But then she leaves the room, and then you got to get out of bed again, take all the things, and start to work your way out. It's almost like a progression. I don't want to give away certain things, but you do this, to do that, to do this, to do this, to lead to that, to move this. And then if she starts coming back in, you got to put this back, put that back, put this back, put this here, hang that up there, get back in bed, and close the cuff.
Yeah.
Or you're fucked. And she brings back more food, too. Next time around, she's like, it's another option for you. And you're like, thank you.
Disgusting.
And it's still just as gross. Yeah.
This is kind of everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
Right? I love escape room games in VR especially, but I love horror escape room games.
Was great. Yeah.
And so to get an escape room game from Capcom again in the Resident Evil 7 house.
Yeah.
In a room that like you don't.
Who would have thunk?
Hey, this is not a room that you spend a whole lot of time in Resident Evil 7.
No.
But here you are in the bed that previously you just moved.
Yeah.
You set the clock in the bed had moved to reveal the trap door to let you go get another key card. I think it was.
I forget what was down there.
There's something down there. It was like that was the whole butcher area. I think.
It was. Yeah,
it's awful. And so, but then here you are. They're taking advantage of this room that like you barely spend any time in.
Yep.
And it is very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's an interesting take on escape rooms because I don't think I've ever played an escape room where you actually have to remember where things went and put things back and made sure that like it was. Because I was totally ready to just be like, every time I hear it coming, I'm just going to jump back in bed, put the handcuff back on, and good to go.
Yeah.
And that's not it at all.
Right. Nothing. I mean, it's like I thought it was going to be simple, too, because you see one picture with, like, the silhouette, where it faded behind it of a bigger picture. So you're like, oh, that picture goes here.
Right.
And then you're, like, putting this one here and that one there. And you realize it's definitely not that simple, because when she comes back in the room, you got to put that one back to the area you originally took it from. That one's got to go back over here. Right. This one's got to. So you've got to recall everything as you hurry up and put it all back and get into bed. And that's where it can get frantic because you're like, where did this go? Man. And I never got caught. Can she come in when you're out of bed?
That never happened to me.
Didn't with me either.
I thought I was good at the game.
Yeah.
But apparently that just might not be a thing.
Yeah, might not. I mean, she's come in before where I didn't close the cuff. That's happened before.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, God damn, is she going to notice? And of course she notices,
right. Yeah. Very attentive.
Yeah.
She's very attentive.
Very. I mean, she feels if something's out of place.
Yeah.
She'll be like, here,
what is that?
What? Yeah.
So yeah, this is, okay. And of course I got to ask you how long this took to beat.
Oh, I don't know. This actually took me a lot longer than it should have. I want to say it was under 2 hours.
Yeah.
I died a lot.
Okay.
But I was so hooked on this one, I had to complete it. So I'm under 2 hours. I'm going to say it took me an hour and 50 minutes. I don't know, it was close. An hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was under 90 minutes.
Okay.
But I didn't die as much as I expected to.
Okay.
But then when I at the very end, I was like, wow, I want to see how long other people took to get through this, because I felt like I wasn't getting it. I was like, what? I'm like wandering around. I'm like looking for that, like the X marks. What can I open? What can I do? And for a lot of the time, I couldn't do anything. I was like, what am I missing?
Right.
And so then I looked on YouTube and saw that people were finishing in like 20 minutes.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah, I was like, wow.
And I was like, oh, maybe they just played it before and they knew all the answers.
They ripped through it.
Because now that I've done it, I assume I could do it in 20 minutes.
I haven't tried.
But, I mean, so I'm curious to know in the comments how long this took you guys the first time around. Because I feel like maybe we're on the longer end of things.
Oh, I believe that.
It's just an escape room. And it's like a room plus another room.
Yeah.
It's like basically 2 rooms.
2 rooms. A room and a half.
Right.
Big closet.
Yeah. So don't expect like to be like, oh, here I'm exploring like a whole new part of the mansion or something like that. It's very confined, and I think they did a lot with the space that they gave us.
Yeah.
And it was tense. It was really tense, but it was a different kind of tense than Resident Evil 7 ever gave me before, and I really enjoyed it.
I did too. They could have woven this into the main story even too.
I think they could have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Easily. And I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, that would have been
interesting.
Rating this one?
Yeah, let's rate it.
I'm giving this a 1. There's no doubt. I'm 1. I thought this was awesome.
Nice. I'm giving all of. I'm just gonna tell you ahead of time. I'm giving all of the DLC a 1 because it's just more of everything I love, and even the lesser ones are still amazing.
Yeah.
And the better ones are unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, spoilers for next week as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. So that's gonna do it for this episode of Why We Love PSVR.
Yeah.
Make sure you come back next week. For part 2 of our Resident Evil 7 DLC discussion, where we'll talk about End of Zoe and Banned Footage Volume 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting.
And we haven't recorded in a while. We skipped last week because I was really sick.
You were. But they don't know that.
No.
Because we didn't miss an episode.
No, that's
really good
the
at
magic of movies and film.
This is one of those episodes where like we film it, then I edit it and upload it immediately. And just barely make the 6 a.m. deadline. It's like, so this is like, we just filmed this hours ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. This was the most requested episode we'd had in a long time. Everyone's like, when are you going to do the Resident Evil 7 DLC?
Yeah.
And we finally did. Of course, we'll finish it off next week. So thank you very much for hanging out.
Yeah.
Love you all. For another episode, I'm Bryan Paul.
And I'm Jeremy King.
And we'll see you next week. I feel like we've done it 5 times.
I know, we've done it so many times.
All right.
Yeah.